what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves one speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all.
Welcome to another episode of Breakthrough Conversations with Rhoda and Company, where we spotlight bold journeys of leaders who shatter ceilings and redefine what's possible. Today, I am so honored to welcome a powerhouse professional who exemplifies persistence, grit, and grace. Ana, my friend Ana.
Yes.
A proud Latina and longtime leader at MasterCard, Ana has spent over 2 decades breaking barriers in corporate America. She started her journey in customer service. She moved through quality and audit, and now leads with vision and authenticity at a very high level. So today's episode is titled Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling, Latina Leadership in Corporate America. It's about rising, it's about representing, and redefining success on your own terms. So let's get into it, Ana. Welcome.
Let's do it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I'm so honored to have you. Girl.
Absolutely. Likewise.
Ana and I'll share a quick story. Ana and I lived across the street from each other for several years out in O'Fallon, Missouri.
That's right.
And another funny story is we later found out that you and your husband used to live in University City, and
Yes.
we used to live in University City.
Down the street, right? I think it was actually the
Right.
same. Wasn't it the same street?
Yes,
But you were on one side.
on one
and I was
end, and you was on the
Yes.
other. And then we
Crazy.
ended up living across the street from one another.
Yes.
And I was actually friends with Anna's husband because he would come outside and be standing outside, and so I would talk to him. And I
Right.
never got a chance to talk to Anna because she would usually be at work, and then you would come in
Right.
to pull into the garage, and then you would go in the house. I don't know how it started, but we started talking, and we haven't stopped since. So I'm so honored to call you a dear friend.
Likewise.
So Ana, take us back to your early days at MasterCard. What did your first role look like?
So I started at MasterCard in 1999, and I started in customer service, and because being bilingual, I was supporting our FIs or financial institutions out of the Latin America, Caribbean region, but could also obviously assist with North American markets. So I was in customer service, and that's how I started my journey with them. I was part of a fantastic team, and from there, the rest is history.
And moved on. Since you and I have been friends, I've witnessed and experienced and celebrate with you several promotions. So what drove you, Ana, to keep growing and advancing, even when the path wasn't always clear?
Right. The love and support and trust of my parents and me, always wanted to make them proud. Then my own curiosity and self-respect and love to want to do better and be better, learn. And then the team that I had in the management group that I had that just had this full-on support and trust in me, right? That I could do more, that I could do better, and always pushing me outside my comfort zone. And knowing that they had my back was everything. And so, again, to your point, when it wasn't always clear, regardless of how that was going to turn out, I knew I had people behind me supporting me, whether it's successful or not. And so that was what just kept me going, one step at a time. And so that was it definitely wasn't just me. It was a team effort.
What I hear you saying is our tribe is important.
100%.
Yeah, the power of
100%.
mentorship.
Absolutely.
The importance of pouring into other people and being willing to pull them along.
Right.
I heard someone speak the other day about the elevator and sending it back down to pull others up.
Absolutely.
And I remember you talking about these mentors and both formal and informal within MasterCard. I'm going to be honest, it did give me a little MasterCard envy. I was like, oh, I want to work there. And they were so vested in you. And always questioning and asking you, where do you want to go? What do you want to be? And giving you advice on what you should do. So was there a moment you realized, you know what, I'm meant to lead?
It was when, as you mentioned, we had management had created this group, this quality control group, and a handful of us were selected to review and work with our current representatives and even new ones coming into customer support. We would review their cases. We would review emails that they would be sending out, and even phone calls to, see obviously celebrate their strengths because we could see it, hear it, and then also look for opportunities where they could improve, right? And in doing that and in working with the team that was assigned to me to review their cases and listen to their phone calls, that's where that bug bit. And I was like, I love doing this because I love the fact that I could work with someone in finding that strength that maybe they themselves didn't know they had. I love celebrating what they were good at and making sure that they knew that they were doing that. And then just finding opportunities to continue to grow. Not everybody wanted to necessarily get out of customer support. Some people actually thoroughly enjoyed and wanted to stay there. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't keep growing and getting better, right? And so in doing that, that's when I enjoyed it so much. And the feedback that I was getting from the group that I was supporting, that's what I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. And so that's where it started. And then I began to obviously talk to my managers and my mentors. And before I knew it, the opportunity to presented itself. And Lynn Morley, never forget her. She's the one who took a chance on me. And that's when I started my management experience and journey.
Shout out to Lynn. We never forget the ones that give us our first opportunity.
Never.
And something you just said, I want to stress to the listeners and viewers, and that is, even if they're not interested in moving up to lead other people,
absolutely,
that it's important to continue to grow in role.
Right.
And even if you have an aspiration to be a leader, sometimes I notice that people think they have to get the title, get the position to grow. No, you need to be doing things now that's going to help you get that next level.
Absolutely.
And then therefore you have a less of a gap when you get there.
Right.
Yeah.
I was always told, if you want to move up and on, always act and work as if you were already in that role, in that position. Right? Make that for yourself. Don't wait, because others start to notice when you're doing this, right? And so I did, and that was the same that I would pass along to, again, the individuals that I was working with, whether, again, they wanted to stay or move on to something else. I wanted to share that as well. And, to me, when I was leading, no greater compliment than somebody asking somebody from my team if they wanted to join their team. Because to me, that was, wow. Right? I've got a rock star in my team, and others are just, chomping at the bits, waiting to get them. So that was fantastic for me, not just for them, because the opportunities that they also had, but for me as their leader. Oh, no greater compliment.
We have that in common. I remember when I worked at SSM Health, and I was leading their training division for their electronic health record. So it was an entry-level function within IT, and there were bigger roles within that project that people aspire to get to. And they were coming in my department, getting trained up, learning, growing, glowing. And someone stopped me one day and said, I heard you have a lot of turnover, people trying to get away from you. I said, they're not trying to get away from me. No. I say, what's happening is I'm hiring really good talent, and I'm developing them, and I'm seeding the organization with talent.
I mean, you definitely need your steady eddies, right? You need those that are going to be your bread and butter, know the system or the team or, whatever you're doing inside and out. But you need to have that fresh turnover, right? It's good for everyone,
good. It is.
Right?
Healthy turnover.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Ana, as a Latina in corporate America, what were some challenges you faced that others might not have seen?
Sure. At the time when I started my journey into management, there really wasn't any other Latina in my immediate circle, right? So I was very and I put this pressure on myself because I don't believe that anybody was putting that on me. But I wanted to I was very cautious on how I was presenting and representing myself, because being that I was again, the first one, because I didn't have
Right.
anyone else, to say, oh, well, she's also
Mm-hmm.
in management. I wanted to make sure that I did a good job in truly representing, again, myself and Latinas
Mm-hmm.
in the light of we are just as good and
Right.
we deserve a seat at the table like
Mm-hmm.
everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to feel the fire of, oh, well, because, she's a Latina,
Right.
fiery at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have the fire in us, but
Right.
it doesn't mean we don't know how to control it.
Right.
So,
Right.
so I was definitely very cautious
Mm-hmm.
about my interactions, how I was
Mm-hmm.
presenting myself, what I was wearing,
Right.
what my hair was looking like,
Mm-hmm.
how I spoke, how
Mm-hmm.
I presented things.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit of an added pressure that, again, I feel that I put it on myself,
Right.
not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily that was being put on me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but again, the fact that I didn't see, or I didn't have anyone around
Right.
me like me,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure that I represented well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for those who had given me that opportunity, I wanted to make them proud and to also know that they had made the right decision when
Yes.
they had given me that opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to represent.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's
yeah.
very powerful and very insightful too, and very similar to the weight I carry as an
Yeah.
African American female in corporate America.
Right.
And I do think about I want to give them the best experience
Right.
because I want to affect the mindset and the thinking
Yes.
about my people. And
Exactly.
so, yeah, it's something that we put on ourselves
Absolutely.
most of the time.
Right. And having a true passion for everything that I do, right?
Yes.
You know this. So when
Yes.
whether it's personal or whether it's at work, I give it my all,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I show it.
Right.
And that too had to be somewhat controlled,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat
Mm-hmm.
tamed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that at times I found it challenging because
Yes.
it's within me, my nature, that
Mm-hmm.
if something is going maybe not the way you had
Mm-hmm.
planned it, right? To show that emotion, to show that
Yes.
care, that sympathy or
Mm-hmm.
empathy. And when something is going great, to truly celebrate it. Well,
Right.
the good was always easier,
Right.
right? It was the other that it was
Yes.
much harder for me, I felt,
Mm-hmm.
to have to keep it at a very even level tone.
Yes.
Because, the natural me
Right.
wants to be like, it's gonna be okay,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make you feel that it is going to be
Right.
okay,
Right.
regardless of the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But again, being in that position,
Mm-hmm.
I had to be very self-conscious and very
Yes.
conscious about how I was being perceived,
Mm-hmm.
and how others, assumed my position, my
Yes.
role, right?
Understood. In fact, overstood. Did you ever you just answered it. I was going to ask, did you ever feel pressure to assimilate or hide parts of who you are to move forward? And it sounds like you did do that to some degree.
Right. I don't know that it was necessarily um that I felt like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I have to do this, right? But again, not having anyone around
Mm-hmm.
me that was also a Latina in
Mm-hmm.
leadership in this office at the time, right? I mean, the next
Right.
office was our Miami office,
Mm-hmm.
packed full of them.
Right.
But here it just wasn't
Mm-hmm.
there, and so I wanted to make sure that I represented well, and that I didn't give myself fully up. I still wanted to be my authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but had to make sure, especially like I said, when things were not going
Yes.
maybe the way that we would all
Mm-hmm.
all want it to be.
Right.
Those challenging times were definitely a challenge for
Mm-hmm.
me, because internally the turmoil and the wanting to show,
Right.
I had to refrain from that at
Mm-hmm.
times. And I always appreciated my whoever I was reporting to, I always appreciated them being their authentic self with me. When things were
Yes.
not going right, I appreciated them saying,
Mm-hmm.
what happened here,
Right.
right? And having that conversation. And when something was going great, my gosh, the celebration, as opposed to just being
Right.
stoic,
Right.
right?
Monotone.
When I had that, it was actually even more concerning to me, because
Yes.
then it's kind of hard to read. You don't know if you're doing right, if you're doing it
Right.
wrong. Thankfully, it didn't have too many of those,
Mm-hmm.
but I did.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have. Um, and again, I much preferred those who were raw with me, for
Yes.
better or worse, because then I learned so much more from them, and
Mm-hmm.
that which then I turned and applied when I was doing it,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to those who were always
Right.
flatline,
Right.
right? That I'm like, I don't know. Am I
Yeah.
doing right? Am
Yeah.
I doing it right? Right.
You don't know
So
where you
I
stand.
don't know.
Yeah, I
Right.
understand. I understand. So, um, how do you like balance honoring your culture identity, especially now that you've been in the workplace
Hmm.
for as long as you have and in leadership, while navigating corporate environment that is, quite frankly, isn't always built for people that look like us?
Right. Um, it is challenging for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
here, being in the Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
it's maybe even a little bit more challenging,
Yes.
right, than it would be in other offices that we have. So again, going back to my mentors,
Mm-hmm.
to role models, to
Mm-hmm.
friends like you
Mm-hmm.
that have, when I am having those struggles, to be able to have those candid conversations
Mm-hmm.
and ask, what do I do here?
Right,
How do I
right.
do this? Right. And quite frankly, that was one of the things that I loved about our relationship,
Mhm.
was because when I would
Mm.
come to you for those
Mhm.
questions, it was a total bird's eye view, right?
Right,
Because even
right.
the industries that we were in
Or
or are
totally
in
opposite,
have
right.
been completely the opposite. So it was always so much more refreshing to me to hear
Mhm.
your point of view,
Mhm.
because you were completely outside
Mhm.
of that environment that I was in. Um, so that was always very helpful. And then even with my support system at work
Mhm.
here in the Midwest, but also taking advice from those, down in our Miami
Right,
office. I
right.
have, friends that are in leadership there that also helped me into finding my way, my voice, and like you said,
Mhm.
still honoring
Yes.
my identity,
Yes.
myself, my
Mhm.
roots, right? And so that has been incredible for me in navigating the tricky waters when it comes to, mm, it's not
Right.
always an easy path, not for a woman, not for
Mhm.
specifically Latina and in the Midwest.
Right.
It's been a challenge. It's not
Mhm.
impossible,
No, because you haven't let it stop you.
but you have to
Right.
put the work in,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that's the thing, is you have to keep going.
Mhm.
And my current executive said once, and I don't want to, it wasn't an exact
Mhm.
quote of Amy because I
Mhm.
don't want to chop it, but
Mhm.
it was that regardless of what she's doing, she never loses, because everything that she does, there's always a lesson in it. And
Yes.
so she never loses, regardless of
Mhm.
success
Mhm.
or downfall,
Right.
right? And I love that.
Yes.
And so that's one quote that I
Yeah.
always, have running in the back of my
Yeah.
head when things are not going
We don't
right.
lose, we learn.
Never.
Mhm. Mhm. So, Anna, what does inclusive leadership mean to you, and how do you like model that in how you lead?
Right. Um when I was managing, I had the most melting pot of
Mhm.
individuals working,
Mhm.
for me, and I love that, and I
Mhm.
learned so much from them,
Mhm.
um, because I had seasoned individuals,
Mhm.
I had individuals that were fresh out of college,
Mhm.
and I had some that were just, this was a stopping point, and everyone's like identity was so different,
Mhm.
yet together we all worked so well. And
Yes.
the key was respecting those differences
Mhm.
in all of us, right? And so again, I learned so much from working with them and
Mhm.
having to adjust, put on the different
Yes.
hats with each and every single one I would be meeting, because
Mhm.
even though we were all on the same team, even though we all had the same targets and goals, the way that everyone approached it, the way that everyone felt and even expressed
Mhm.
was so different,
Right.
that it was fantastic. And again, respecting that, it was key to making the
Right.
team move smoothly. And so I always took that with me in the next, roles that I've had the chance to be in, because respect is everything,
Yes.
right? And embracing those differences is what makes us stronger,
Yes.
right? Because you need those differences in order
Right.
to be able to be a strong unit. Without them,
Right.
it's boring.
It's boring.
Right.
The different points of views, the lived
Absolutely.
experiences that all the diversity of thought brings.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
I mean,
It's so powerful.
I was so blessed with having that team that, again, it was a melting pot of
Right.
men and women from different backgrounds, different generations, different stages of their life, and the way
Yes.
that they saw the work that we did, so different.
Right.
I mean, literally two individuals doing
Right.
the same job, and one looking at it, one color, and the other
Right.
one seeing the other, and yet made it work.
Mhm.
And it was fantastic. It was a successful team.
Right.
So yeah, I loved it. And that's what I carried with me, like I said, on to the different other roles, and even
Yes.
to this day, right? I try to embrace those differences, even when it's very
Right.
challenging. It's taking that step back. It's helpful.
Right. And something else I heard you say is meeting people where they are.
Absolutely.
So everyone is
Absolutely.
different. Everyone has a different approach. We all
Right.
process and we have different filters.
Right.
And we have
Right.
different lived experiences. Meeting them where they are, coming
Right.
together, you have a more powerful product.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
Great
want
outcome.
those differences, right? It's what the differences is what makes the world go round. And that's what makes us so beautiful. And that is the one thing that I've loved about MasterCard as a whole, right? To me, especially in our office here, now more than ever, as you're walking around the halls and you're seeing the melting pot of people that we have here.
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. When I traveled overseas to our other offices, I love that, right?
Right.
And then to start seeing that here a little bit more. Oh my gosh. It's so great. And that's why we keep growing.
Right.
And it is those differences and having those different generations and backgrounds and thought processing and even emotions into what we bring.
Yes.
It's what makes us stronger.
It makes us
And
stronger.
that's why we keep growing.
Yeah. Diversity matters.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the lessons in leadership and mentorship
Yeah.
and legacy.
Yeah.
So who helped you along the way, and how has mentorship shaped your journey?
Mentorship is everything. If it wasn't for my mentors, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't
Right.
for them. I mean, that's just what it comes down to, right? And what I loved about my different mentors is that I took a little bit from each one to then add in my own flavor,
Yes.
right? So
You
there
analyzed
there
it.
were the little spices into my mix.
Yes.
Joe Parker, my gosh, Joe was very different from me in the way that he would approach situations, but I love that about him, that he was when we would be discussing certain situations, the way that he would explain how he would approach it, I would be a little bit like, I don't know that I can.
Right.
But then I would take a little bit of that and turn into my own, and it worked, right? So with my friend Inigo from the Miami office, he has such a diverse view on how he approaches everything that I don't know that I could do it like he does it, right? But again, taking those little bits and pieces from him, having again my gosh, and what you did and what you continue to do, I be the first one to say I don't know that I could ever do what you do. However, there are moments where I'm like, what would Rhoda do in this, right? And so taking those little bits and pieces of discussions that I've had with my mentors, even downfalls that I have had on my own for not being straightforward,
Right.
with my advocates. I shared this during our panel discussion at
Yes.
the Women Unite to Ignite
Yes.
event, that I had mentors are everything, but also advocates are
Yes.
very important, because they are the eyes and the ears in sessions that you're not taking.
They're your sponsors.
They are. You're not there at that table. So it's
Right.
great when an opportunity is mentioned, and then, you have someone there to say, I know Anna.
Right.
She might be interested in this.
Yes.
And so, but I share the one where I didn't share my interest in something completely different from what I was currently doing with one of those advocates. And when it came time to a position that was available and it was brought up during the dinner, without knowing, because again, at the time, it felt like a sting when, his response was, I don't know that she would like this. I thought afterwards, I was like, what do you mean?
Right.
What?
Right.
But then the more I thought about it, it wasn't on him to, it wasn't his fault.
Right.
I had not been straightforward on, this is what I want. I want something different. I want something completely day and night from what I'm doing. Because then, when that opportunity came about, or they were being asked about it, if I had been straightforward with what I wanted to do next, then maybe Matt would have said, I know someone, she might want that. But I wasn't straightforward.
Right.
And so, without knowing, he just was like, I don't know.
Right.
And then I heard about it. I was like, no. But that was on me, right? The lesson learned there was, you need to be straightforward when you're having those conversations with your mentors, with your advocates. What do you want? What do you want next?
Be very clear.
Right? Exactly. They're not mind readers.
Right.
As close as you might be with them, you need to be straightforward.
Right.
You need to put out there what it is that you want to do.
Yes.
So that when somebody does hear about an opportunity, I know someone.
Right.
I wanna.
Yes.
Right. And so that was a huge lesson learned for for me. And then again, when it comes to my coaches and my mentors, my gosh, they're my everything.
Yes.
They're definitely my rocks, my solid ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say, Anna, and the lesson, one, you have mentors and advocates and sponsors that you need to be very upfront with them and let them know your desires and hopes and dreams.
Right.
So that they could be on the lookout for you and advocate for you when the opportunity presents itself. I had a leader once ask me on my first day at work after he hired me, he asked me, what do you want to be known for? And I had never, ever been asked that. And I said, why do you ask? And he said, so that when I'm in meetings, I could repeat that. He said, and that's what you become known for. So I told him, I said, I want to be known for someone that can get stuff done, get it done with care and kindness, and can tackle complex issues. And that became my reputation.
Yes.
And they even called me Rhoda Banks. But again, it's important
Spot on. Yes.
to be clear and also to be intentional about managing and building your brand.
Absolutely.
So that is your responsibility. That's a great point.
100%.
Yeah. Anna, what advice would you give to your younger Latinas or women of color trying to climb the ladder?
Right. Believe in yourself, right? Trust yourself. Honor yourself.
Yes.
Embrace your curls, your straight hair, your waves, and your skin tone. Embrace your shape. Embrace your everything.
Yes.
There is value in you. And if someone is trying to tell you otherwise, that's not the path. That's not with the someone that you want to be. It's not always easy, but it's not impossible. That's what you have to, in MasterCard, one of the things that we always think back on is, can you imagine what that first person that said, one day we're going to be using our phones for banking, to pay bills, to pay for things that person was probably looked at like,
what
is wrong with it? So it's okay if someone tells you or looks at you a little bit like, you never know.
Right.
You might have the next breakthrough, right?
Right.
So just keep going. If it's something that you truly want and feel passionate about,
Yes.
keep going. Keep pushing through. Being where I am today, believe it or not, was a dream when I was a kid.
Yes.
I
Yes.
dreamt about being in corporate.
Yes.
I had my aunts, my mom's sisters, who both worked in corporate, and seeing them being in that environment. And I remember as a kid just loving to see their outfits and their,
Right.
smelling their beautiful perfumes and how they looked. And then when I would visit them in their offices, how people would look at them and respect them. And I was like, I want this someday. That love, that passion is what got me to where I am today.
Yes.
Was it easy? Not
No.
always. But again, it's not impossible.
And nothing worth having is easy.
You actually will appreciate it more than if it's just given to you.
Right. That's so true.
The easy path, yeah, nice.
Right.
But you're not going to love it, taste it, smell it, enjoy it as much as you would if you did it yourself.
That is so powerful. I have goosebumps just listening to you, because you've been instrumental for me, Ana, in me finally getting to a point where, I've always talked about my weight. And you never met me with resistance or judgment.
Right.
You always say, well, Rhoda, you could take that weight loss drug if you want to, but some of us are meant to be the size that we're meant to be.
Yes.
We were given the bodies we were given. And I'm at a point now where, am I striving to be healthy and make better choices? And do I need to go to the gym? Yes. But I also am finally settling in, because I realized that there was never a day that went by that I didn't think about my weight. But I'm finally accepting that this is the body that I'm going to have, and I just need to love me in it.
And you're beautiful.
Oh, thanks,
and that's exactly to your point. Can you imagine if we all looked the same?
Right.
How boring that would be, right?
Right.
Imagine all the guys having the same body.
Yes.
We wouldn't be going,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, we have to have these differences.
Yes.
We need to have these different body shapes, different skin colors, different tyes of hair,
Yes.
long, short, curly,
Yes.
wave, tight, whatever. Like, we need to have that. And
Yes.
so I believe that as long as you are happy, as long as you're confident, as long as you're healthy, because there are some,
Right.
you know what? Honestly, I have a friend at work that when you would see him, you might think, maybe a bit overweight. Let me tell you something. We went to a it was a softball game or baseball game, and he was playing. I had never seen anybody run as fast as he did, and he was killing it out there.
Yes.
To where at that point, I'm like, you know what? He's healthy. He's happy. He's strong.
Right.
He's good looking the way he
Yes.
is.
Yes.
It would be weird if he was slimmer.
Right.
Like, it wouldn't look right.
Right.
And so, no.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong with the way that you
Right.
look or anybody else. You want to change that for yourself? More
Go
power
for
to
it.
you. Absolutely go for it. But don't do it because you want to
please others.
Right. Fit this mold. No.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because you're not even going to enjoy it yourself. Right. And there's only you're only going to keep up with that for so long before you get sick of it. And then before you know it, you're going to go right back to the way that you were because you didn't do that for yourself. It has to come from you because you want it. Not because, again, you're wanting to please everyone else that expects it.
So to our viewers and listeners, the message to all Latinas, women of color, women in general, it really doesn't matter who you are. You should show up as your authentic self. Love yourself. It really doesn't matter what other people think about you. What matters most is what you think about yourself. And when you don't show up as your authentic self, when you suppress those gifts and talents of who you are, you're depriving yourself and you're depriving us of the gift of you.
Right.
So, yeah, that's great advice, Ana. So what are you most proud of when you look back over your career?
Everything. And I had a session with my cousin Johanna. As you know, she is a spiritual and shamanic healer.
Yes.
And in that session with her, discussing my accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment when she asked me about my accomplishments, I started to think back at all the goals I had set for myself, all those wishes that
Right.
I had met them all.
Look
And in
at
that
you.
moment, I was so happy and so proud of the work that I had done and achieved, at work, the travels, the places that I
Yes.
had, the opportunity to travel to, the people I got to meet while I was there, the teams that I've been able to work
Right.
with and lead.
The marathons that you've ran.
Oh my gosh, even that, right? Like, it sounded so crazy. Who wants to run 26.2 miles? It seemed so ridiculous at the time, and I did it. And
Yes.
so, you know, thinking back at all that I've done, it's really remarkable. And I am very proud of the work that I've done. It has not been easy. I couldn't do it without the support and love
Yes.
of family, friends, you know, mentors, coaches, you name it. It's not been a me, right? It takes a village for sure.
Yes.
But I am very proud of the work that I've done and that I've accomplished. And again, it's thinking back in that moment with Johanna saying this to her, I also realized I can do anything.
Yes.
If I set my mind to it and if I push through those uncomfortable moments, right? Because it's a moment.
Yes.
I can do it.
Yes.
I can do it. And even if it doesn't work out, in my experience, it's been a blessing.
Right.
It's been a blessing in disguise that afterwards, even though in the moment when I maybe didn't get that, job that I was applying for, or I didn't get to that, finish line on the race at the time that I wanted to, they're all lessons learned, and they were a blessing in disguise because I got something so much better
out of it. Yeah.
out of that. And
Yeah.
if that experience didn't work out, guess what? The next one,
Right.
it was so much better. Like, that next race, I did
Right.
it in a much shorter time and not feeling as much pain. And
Right.
at work, yeah, I didn't get that position. But man, the role that I'm in, I know what I'm doing. I feel
Right.
comfortable. I have an incredible network, a good support system. So yeah, it stung in the moment
Right.
not getting that, but it was for a reason. And even though at the time you don't see it, as time goes by,
Right.
you see the blessing in that door closing because
Yes.
another one opens.
Yes.
Always.
I have a philosophy or a thought process, and I said that rejection is often protection.
100%.
So it's disguised as rejection,
100%.
but it is protection. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've always prayed for everything that I'm going for, right? God, if it's meant,
Right.
let it be. And if
Yes.
it's not, trust the journey. Trust the
Right.
journey, Anna,
Yes.
because God's got
Yes.
you. And it has been that way. And like I
Yes.
said, it hasn't been easy because there's been plenty of positions
Right.
that I've been like, oh, it would have been nice. But you know what? It's been good.
So Anna, one word to describe your journey.
Amazing.
Amazing. What's a breakthrough moment you'll never ever forget?
Wow.
Mhm.
There's been so many.
Mhm.
Finishing my marathon in Paris.
Yes.
That was just a dream. It
Yes.
was surreal.
And I experienced it through listening to you tell me the stories about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a surreal moment.
So what's next for Anna?
That's a great question. I don't know, but God's been great to me.
Yes.
And I know that whatever comes next, it's going to be just as fantastic. I trust the journey, and I know that if it's even a fourth of what it's been like, it's going to be great.
Right.
It's going to be another amazing
Yeah.
ride. I'm ready for it.
Anna, I thank you so much. For those who now know you, if they want to get to know you more,
Yes.
they could find you where? Like I know you're on Instagram.
I
Mm-hmm.
I am, but it's very limited. But I am in LinkedIn.
Yes.
And if hopefully you have another Women
We
Unite
will.
to Ignite, yes, I will be there.
Yes.
So another fantastic way to reach out. But yes, I
Yes.
am out there on LinkedIn. So anything that I can do, any questions, anything, just reach out to
Yes.
me. Happy
Yeah,
to.
shout
Happy
out
to
to
help.
Women Unite to Ignite.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
yes.
women's retreat event
Yes.
experience, and we are planning to have
Wonderful.
it again next year in October. Soon you'll start seeing all kind of communications come out, and it is an event that women want to experience. In fact, we're bringing it
100%.
back by popular demand because so many people have asked.
Because it was amazing. And so, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So, Anna, your journey is a shining example of what happens when persistence meets
Thank you.
purpose.
Thank
It
you.
really is.
Thank
And
you.
you've shown us that breaking through the glass ceiling, it isn't just about ambition. It's
Right.
about what? Authenticity. It's about resiliency. It's about advocacy. It's about lifting others up as you climb. So thank you for showing us today
Thank you for
as
having
your full self and for inspiring others,
Thank you.
especially Latina women,
Yes.
to take up space and to lead boldly. So to our listeners, let this episode remind you that no matter where you start, your voice, your culture, and your lived experience belong in every room you enter. Until next time, I'm Rhoda, and this has been another breakthrough conversation worth remembering. Follow me, subscribe, share this episode. Thank you for joining in.
Hey, what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves me speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all. Hey, what's your story? A kick-ass mom and 40 under 40. A soccer practice in your high heel glory. Yeah, you do it all.